Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Nothing But Sports with Kent Sterling for Thursday, April 16th, 2020, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill still doing emergency dental work. So if you have a dental emergency, call 317-849-2933. Dr. Mike, the best at what he does. 26 years experience as one of his patients. I'm telling you, he is the best dentist you're ever going to go to. All right, let's talk about sports. And let's talk about the economics of sports, because what's going on with the coronavirus and shutting down the economy for a period of time to make sure it's safe for people, whatever safe really means. This is we've been going through this for 5 weeks and a day, right? If this continues for another 5 weeks and then another 5 weeks, and all of a sudden the college football season and the NFL season is largely being plotted without fans attending games, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have towns like Bloomington and Knoxville and Columbia and Madison and East Lansing and Ann Arbor, whose economies are built around professional sports. Indianapolis, too, with professional sports. College sports, the other ones. College towns, they need college football, they need college basketball to sustain themselves. A city like Indianapolis, really the downtown, over 50 years ago, these guys got together and they said, hey, let's have a plan. All right, let's have a goal. And that goal is to host an Olympic Games. So every decision that they made about how this city was built and how it evolved forward from about 1967 onward was built around the notion of sports. Become the amateur sports capital of the world, right? Get the Pacers migrating to the NBA, the Colts coming from Baltimore, the NCAA moving here, Lucas Oil Stadium being built, Bankers Life Fieldhouse being built, Final Fours coming here roughly every 5 years, the Big Ten tournament here a lot, the Big Ten football championship game here every year. All of these things contributed to the resurgence of the downtown economy. When I first came here in 1993, I worked for a guy named Ed Lennon. And so I said, Ed, what's going on, the downtown? How's downtown work? He goes, I don't know. I don't go there. Nobody went downtown back in 1993, but do you know what? They go down there now. There are a bunch of bars. There are a bunch of terrific restaurants. There are a whole lot of hotels. The Super Bowl came here. Lots of activity downtown built around sports. And if you're not going to have people attending games, the economies of these cities are going to falter. And nobody wants that. We understand that it's going to take some time to get a vaccine that's workable and to start putting in the field some kind of antibody test to make sure who's had it and who hasn't had it, who can go about their lives in safety, and who really should take it easy and stay away from people and maybe wear masks. And we know who these people are. They've got the underlying conditions, like the doctors say. Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, they talk about underlying conditions. People who are diabetic, have heart disease, have cancer, stuff like that, right? These people are grotesquely obese. These people have got to take it easy, because if they don't, they're the ones who wind up on ventilators. They're the ones who die. Other people too, no doubt about that. But the larger percentage of people who are succumbing to the coronavirus or the effects of the coronavirus, these are people with those underlying conditions. We got to figure out how to get the economy going, not to be callous about the loss of human life. I don't want anybody to die. Nobody wants anybody to die. But if there is no college football this fall, or college football is played in stadiums where people don't attend, you're going to have a calamity in the local economies of college towns. Look at the Wrigleyville neighborhood, the Lakeview neighborhood in Chicago, where Wrigley Field is. 40,000 people fill that area 81 days a year. All right, they go to bars, they go to restaurants, they spend a lot of money, they really enjoy themselves, they stay in hotels. That's what they do. Without Cubs baseball in front of people this year, the economy of the Lakeview neighborhood is going to falter. How about the south side of Chicago? How about St. Louis? Look at St. Louis, downtown St. Louis. I lived right across the street from Busch Stadium for 2 years, back 2011 through 2013. I'm telling you, there isn't jack to do in downtown St. Louis without Cardinals baseball. You've got Busch Stadium, 81 nights a year, you got baseball. So you've got bars around that area, those 81 nights, making a lot of money. You got Ballpark Village. You have the casino right up the road, right in downtown St. Louis. If that casino isn't open, and if there's no baseball, you have a catastrophe economically in downtown St. Louis. And this is not about money. All right, I'm not talking about economics and, oh, my God, the people who own the Cardinals, they're not going to be able to sell tickets. The ball players who make way too much money as it is, they're not going to make their money. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who run small businesses in St. Louis, Indianapolis, Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Chicago, all these cities. In fact, every city. What the hell? Why am I naming cities, right? It's every major league city. You got a city with a major league franchise in it, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, or hockey, MLS as well. And you're not pushing people into those arenas and into those stadiums. You have a fundamental problem with the economy of those cities. Sports have become entrenched, interwoven in the economics of these cities to the point where if it doesn't exist, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. This is not about the rich being unable to become richer. This is about bartenders. This is about servers. This is about front desk clerks at hotels. This is about the police. This is about firemen. This is about EMTs. It's about all of that, because here's what else happens. If you have cities where people are not coming in order to pay the sales taxes and the income taxes in order to keep those cities going, what you're going to have are cities who lay off cops and firemen and EMTs, all the governmental workers that are needed to keep us safe. The economy is not just built to make the rich richer. I know a lot of people think that it is, and there are a lot of people getting rich. But there are also a lot of people paying their bills, working hourly jobs that are made possible by group activities like NFL games, like NBA games, like Major League Baseball games, like the NHL, like college football, like college basketball. And without those drivers of the economy of those towns, you are going to have massive change economically, and none of it is going to be pretty. This is not about the rich getting richer. This is about people who are trying to live month to month and make rent payments on time before they get evicted. Those people being able to sustain themselves and their kids and their school districts. Don't forget about teachers. All right? This is not just about the Dow Jones average, the Dow Jones index. What this is about is our society as a whole being able to function. And at some point, we're going to have to figure out, and Donald Trump said this early on, and he sounded callous in doing it. I thought he sounded callous in doing it. All right, and I'm no giant fan of Donald Trump. All right, I think he's arrogant. I think he's a narcissist. No doubt about those things. And the pain of the virus will pale in comparison to the economic woes foisted upon this country by our isolationist strategy in dealing with that virus. Abbott, somebody, Roach, somebody has got to figure out how to get a vaccine in the field now. Start the antibody testing now. Start the plasma treatments now. This country, what we did in World War II. Here's another thing that people are saying that I totally agree with, and Donald Trump's one of them, that this is like war. And it is like war in that we need to mobilize all of our assets in order to get this thing behind us as quickly as possible, because for every day this lasts, they can send us checks or direct deposits for $1,200 each as often as they want. That's a bandage or a tourniquet on a wound, and that wound is not going to be healed until we figure out how to respond to this coronavirus. So somebody's got to figure out how to get this behind us as quickly as possible, because if we don't, it's not just about the athletes who aren't going to get paid. It's about the servers, the concession workers, the security workers, all these hourly jobs that are dependent upon athletics. And then it's about the city. and the states who are dependent upon income tax and sales tax in order to pay policemen, firefighters, teachers, and other civil servants. And if we don't figure that out, if we don't understand that this is not a problem for the wealthy, it's a problem most acutely felt for all of us who are thinking, okay, how are we going to pay the mortgage this month? How are we going to pay the rent this month? Those are the people. That's the backbone of this country. And if they aren't allowed to continue to make money somehow, some way, this is going to get ugly in a hurry, and it's going to make the Great Depression look like a walk in the park. And we better figure that out. This is not about filling stands with people so they can have fun on a Saturday afternoon. This is not about fun. This is about economics. This is about taxation. This is about public servants. It's not about, man, I can't believe that I don't get to go to the Fish concerts this summer. That's not it. This is not about inconvenience. This is about life and death, and I'm not talking about just from the coronavirus. You better figure this out, and you better marshal all resources in order to do it. Because if you don't, this thing, like I said, it's going to spin out of control, and the dominoes that start falling in about a month from now are going to be grotesquely unpleasant compared to what we've had in the last 5 months and a day. And that wasn't a lot of fun, was it? But that is sports, nothing but sports. Without sports, we got a problem. The economics in this country, in large cities, simply will not work, especially in a city like Indianapolis. Without sports and without conventions, both gather a whole lot of people. And without it, you got real problems. And you would have an almost complete replating of the economy. Anyway, sports, nothing but sports for a Thursday. Better figure this out, and you better get your head out of your asses. If you're a person who looks at this and you think, oh, these rich people who are crowing about, not being able to go to Colts games or concerts, I'm about up to here with that. That's not what it is. That's not the big problem. Big problem, the people who sit next to you in church. How about the churches? What the hell are they going to do, right? We got to get this under control. We got to figure it out. We know that. I'm Ken Sterling. This is Sports, Nothing But Sports, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, it's WNBA Draft Day. Are you kidding me? We'll talk all about the WNBA Draft. We'll talk about the NFL Draft, which a week from tomorrow is going to get very, very interesting for Colts fans. If the Colts don't trade into the first round, that Thursday night isn't going to mean nothing to us, right? But day 2 is going to be huge because the Colts will draft again unless they make a deal. 34th and 44th, and they need weaponry, offensive weaponry for Phillip Rivers to throw to her. What the hell did you do? Why spend $25 million to sign a guy who's going to wind up throwing to Zach Pascal and Jack Doyle, for the love of Pete? All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. 317-849-2933.